Hi, this is Rachel. Today I'm going to show you how to make some Asian meatballs that are a great appetizer. So the first thing you're going to need is a pound of ground turkey. This is 90%, so it only has 10% fat. You do have to have some flavor, so that's important. So we'll just add things to our turkey. The first thing we're going to add is half a cup of breadcrumbs, and it's maybe a little over a half, but that's okay. It's a fat half. And then a quarter of a cup of already done teriyaki sauce, just purchased teriyaki sauce. This happens to be Kikkoman, but you could use whatever brand that you wanted to use. And then we're gonna use 1 can of water chestnuts. These were sliced, and then I just went ahead and diced them up. So we're gonna put those in. And then we need some ginger, about a tablespoon of ginger. So put that in. I have some more. There's more than a tablespoon here. I'm going to use some for my sauce later, so I've done more. And then we're going to need some green onions. And the green onions you just go ahead and slice. And what I like to do when I'm doing Asian is I just kind of turn it a little, my knife a little bit on the bias, and then that way they come out slanted. And I just move my fingers down. And I have 4 green onions right here that I'm slicing, and I'm just gonna use the tops. I'll just set aside, and I'll use those to garnish. But if you do them sort of slanted, they come out really pretty. So all you have to do is just turn the blade of your knife a little bit. So I'll put some of those aside to garnish, and then I'll just go ahead and put the others that I have into my meatballs. Then I'm going to use the juice of 1 lime, actually half a lime is plenty. So just put it in there and juice it out. Then we're going to use some cilantro and some garlic. So I'm going to take my cilantro, I've already washed it, and I just leave it in the bunch like this. And then I take my knife and I just kind of run it through and take the tops off, because that's really what I want. And I'm going to use some for my sauce, about a tablespoon for my sauce, and about a tablespoon inside of the meatballs themselves. So I'm just going to run my knife through, give it a rough chop. So I'll take half of it and put it into the meatballs, and I'll use the other half and put it into the sauce. That's our cilantro. Okay, now I'm going to put some garlic in there. And the garlic, I use whole garlic, and you can use the kind that comes in a jar that's already, pureed basically. But I like the whole garlic, so I just break off the cloves that I need, and then it comes with a paper, and I just crack it like that. And then once I crack it, the paper just peels right off. And it's just easier for me to deal with it than whacking it or whatever. Sometimes when you whack it, then the paper gets all in there, so it's kind of a mess. But I do like, once it's clean, cloves. I do like a garlic press, just because it's way easier to deal with. And we want 2 garlic cloves, or this is one really big one. And I'm just gonna squeeze that in there, and then just scrape it off, and then I'm done. I also don't like garlic getting on my hands. I don't like that smell. It seems to stay for a long time. But if you rub your hands under cold water on stainless steel, like your stainless steel sink or the back of your knife, if you're careful, then it will take that yucky smell away. So we have basically everything that we're gonna be needing, except for a little bit of salt. A little salt in there. Oh, and 1 egg. That's right, and an egg. We have to have a binder for our meatballs. So put the binder in, and then we'll just stir those together. And you can use a spoon if you want. The best way I find is just get in there with your hands, stir it all together, so you get a nice even consistency. And you can also feel like if you have enough breadcrumbs and stuff at this point. All right, now that's basically done, let's wash our hands. Okay, now that we have that well combined, I just like to take a scoop and put it down. And I just kind of make rough ones, and then I'll go through after I've done this, and then I'll even them out. Okay, now that I have just like a rough ball, I'll go through and make them round all the way around. And then once you have them all rolled and kind of to this point, you can go ahead and freeze them, and then you can use them later. Just take them out and pop them right into the oven frozen, and then you can bake them that way. That way they can be made in advance. So now that these are done, go ahead and put them in the oven for 20 minutes to half an hour until they're done all the way through. 170 degrees is what you're looking for, and 375. In the meantime, let's make our sauce to go on top. For this sauce, you'll need 4 tablespoons of soy sauce, which is 1/4 of a cup. Then you'll need some rice vinegar, 2 tablespoons of that. You'll need some ginger that we set aside. And the rest of the cilantro. You'll need 1 more clove of garlic. Two tablespoons of sugar. One teaspoon of sesame oil. A dash of cayenne pepper, just low heat. And then we'll turn on the heat. We'll stir it together, and we'll thicken it with a little bit of cornstarch and water made into a slurry. So I've got 1 tablespoon of cornstarch, and 1 teaspoon of cornstarch, and I'll use 2 teaspoons of water, cold water, just to mix that up, and then we'll add it, and it will thicken our sauce. Stir that together to make your slurry, and pour it down into your sauce. And as it boils, it will thicken. This isn't a ton of sauce. It's just enough to cover each meatball and give it a nice flavor. It makes a great appetizer, and you'll love it at your next party, and so will your guests.